Hello there, and welcome back to the Everything F1 YouTube channel. My name is Seán, and joining me today we have Emma. Say hi, Emma.
Hi, everyone.
We also have Akshar. How's it going, buddy?
Good. Hello, everyone.
And late edition, but always welcome, we have Mr. Tom. How's things? His name is James on the camera, but it is Tom.
Oh, hello there. I am very well. How are you?
Very well, thanks. I'm looking forward to hearing your Tiller impression today.
No, you're not getting that, don't worry.
What we are going to talk about in this video is the 2023 F1 driver lineup. And this is pretty timely because not 5 minutes ago, we got a pretty big announcement from McLaren, which we'll touch on in a little bit. And I know Akshar has been crying into his lovely orange hoodie there. But we are going to kick things off with the easy ones to get out of the way because 4 teams are 100% confirmed to have their 2 drivers for next year. So, Emma, do you want to rattle off who they are? We'll get them out of the way nice and quick.
Yeah, so firstly, we've got Ferrari, which we're going to have Carlos and Charles there again next year, which is great. No changes for them. Same with Mercedes. George has done great this year. They're both carrying on next year. And Red Bull as well. Obviously, Sergio's contract has been extended recently. Yeah, and then we've got Lance and Alonso, who will be at Aston Martin.
Obviously, the big announcement of the moment, which happened not an hour ago as we're filming here on the 24th of August, is the news that Daniel Ricciardo is leaving McLaren at the end of this year. Now, this is probably not too surprising, given that the rumors have been swirling for a long time, although earlier in the season, Zach Brown did specifically state that it's Daniel's decision whether he goes or not. It's on his side of the contract, not McLaren's, that they can break it. Although from the reports today, it is a mutual ending of the contract, but that never means mutual. And Danny, in the video he posted, did not look like he was particularly happy that this was happening. So we'll do a quick sum up of our thoughts and emotions on that, because we're all not so secret McLaren fans, and we'll start with the one who's especially not so secret. We'll go to you, Akshar, in your nice big orange hoodie. What did you make of Danny's announcement that he's leaving McLaren?
I think he'll be hurt right now, but long term, when he looks back on this, it might not be a regret jumping ship from McLaren. It's just not seemed to click over the past couple of years, and it probably wasn't going to click going forward, especially with performances that Lando Norris is putting in, the team seemingly going his way. It wasn't the right environment for Danny Ric. Hopefully he can move on somewhere else and do a bit better.
Yeah, and we'll touch on some of our speculation, but Emma, that's really what it comes down to, isn't it? Is that it wasn't melding. They're favouring Lando, and let's be fair, rightly so. Was this always going to happen this year?
I think so, definitely. I mean, his trainer said recently that the driving style that the McLaren requires just isn't Danny's, forte, and he's just not got to grips with it, and he's had long enough to get to grips with it. Yeah.
So, Tom, I suppose speculation, which, by the time we put this video up will probably be confirmation, is that young Mr. Oscar Piastri will be taking that seat and cutting ties with Alpine. Do you think that's what's going to happen, or are we looking at a completely new name?
No, I think Piastri is going to take that seat, and I think part of the reason we've had this sort of big fallout with Alpine, all the rest of it, over his contract, I think is because he knows he's got a contract with McLaren. But yeah, I think it is safe to say that Piastri will likely be getting that seat. It's not like McLaren have got a small pool of drivers to choose from, though, is it?
No, and actually we'll move on to that because Piastri is the obvious choice, but there are some others. Akshar, other than Oscar Piastri, who do you think might be in the pool, assuming they haven't already signed and paid him all the money in the world to move?
Assuming somehow that hasn't already happened, I think drivers that might be thinking that they should be in with a shout, De Vries will probably think that he should be in with a shout, and Stoffel Van Dorn will, having just won FE. Will definitely think that he should be in with a shout.
Suppose you don't really hear of many McLaren junior drivers anymore. Emma, anyone in F2 who might be a surprise step up if it's not Piastri?
Not that I can think of. I know that Logan Sargent is a Williams junior. He could maybe, be a shout. He's not doing that. I think he's probably in the top 5 at the moment in F2. To throw a spanner in the works, I would say maybe like Colton Herta, like someone from IndyCar.
Yeah, but maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going to say I'm 99% certain that it will be Oscar Piastri in that seat.
Let's move on to the 5 remaining teams. Every of the 5 remaining teams on the grid have one driver confirmed for next year and are looking for another. Those are Williams, Alpine, Alfa Romeo, Haas, and AlphaTauri. Now we'll start at the back of the grid with Williams. They have confirmed Alex Albon will be staying for next year, but have not confirmed Nicholas Latifi yet. And this might be the other worst kept secret in the paddock, that Latifi is likely to be replaced. So Emma, I'll come straight back to you. Who do you reckon will be a Williams driver next season?
I think it's going to be Nick de Vries, but we did on the podcast just have Jack Nicholls on there from Formula E, and he thinks that Nick is going to stay in Formula E.
Interesting.
So but I personally think it's going to be Nick, or like I said, Logan Sargent is a Williams junior who could be in for a shot.
Yep, nice plug for the podcast. We'll link that down below if you want to go have a listen to that episode. Akshar, any predictions for Williams for 2023?
I think most of the rumors has been de Vries. If he does jump ship from Formula E to back marker in F1, then I think that will say something about Formula E. But also if he decides to stay in a winning car in Formula E, then that at the same time will say big things about Formula E and give them a little bit of credibility maybe. But I think it's probably de Vries to say yes or no to.
Tom, any predictions then for Williams?
No, I think it's safe to say that Latifi stays on numbers, especially given they said, especially Williams said they do not need his funding anymore. So I think the writing's on the wall for him a bit. And given the gulf between himself and Albon, and that Albon has made strides this year, having come back into the sport, and Latifi had stood still and just crashed into Stroll, and then gone backwards. I think he's on his way. I think he knows it. I think everyone else knows it. And I think if we didn't have the McLaren saga this year, this is all that would be talked about.
So let's move on then to Alpine, who were the talk of the summer before it all kind of edged towards McLaren, but that's really led to the McLaren news. Fernando Alonso obviously shocked everyone, including Otmar Safnauer, who found out in the news articles, and has left the seat open alongside Esteban Ocon next year. Emma, what do we think? Will we see a French super team, or who are your predictions for next season for Alpine?
I'm going to say Danny Rick. I think he's going to go back to his seat there. I know some people think that maybe he severed his connections there because of the way that he left, but that was more with Cyril, and then obviously he's not in charge anymore. So I think that as long as he can perform in that car, maybe see how he goes, that they'll definitely be interested in having him back in that car, because he was good at Renault and he was a lot better than Esteban Ocon at Renault.
Akshar, what do you think? Who are you predicting for Alpine next season?
I agree, Daniel, but I don't think it's going to be a multi-year to start with. I think it might be a 1+1, and they'll just see how he gets on with Ocon. If the team bring Daniel in on a 1 year, then at least they can see whether Ocon's got it, whether Daniel's still got it against him, and then assess from there.
Tom, final thoughts then on Alpine?
I wonder if we could see Guan Yu Zhou move to Alpine, because obviously he was an Alpine junior driver. Or if we see perhaps someone like Théo Pourchaire step up from Formula 2, because Alpine have got a couple of junior drivers. I imagine they will go with a younger driver. I don't think Danny Rick will return to Alpine. I think people would like to see that, because I think people want to see him stay in F1. But I don't think he's in F1. I think he's going to go off and do some American racing where he's got a big fan base. Alpine, to be honest, if I was Alpine, I'd be borderline panicking, because I'd be like, well, hang on a minute. A couple of weeks ago, we had 3 drivers going into 2. That don't fit. But 1 into 2 also doesn't work in F1.
Right then, let us move on to Alfa Romeo, where Valtteri Bottas has been confirmed for next season, but Guan Yu Zhou has not. Now, Emma, what do you think? His rookie season has been okay so far. I think he's maybe proved a lot of people wrong, including myself. I was a huge doubter of him. But are you surprised they haven't announced him for next year yet?
I am, yeah, because I do think he's had 5 DNFs, and I think all 5 of them haven't been his fault. It's been a problem with the car, or he's been crashed into. So I think without those crashes, would he have more points? Maybe. I mean, he's outperforming people like Nicholas Latifi and Mick Schumacher, who have been, there for longer than he has. I'm really surprised that they haven't announced him yet, because I think he's doing really well, especially for his rookie season.
So you think it'll be Zhou staying on for next year alongside
definitely.
Bottas? Akshar, what about yourself? What do you think?
I have to agree. It's probably only a matter of time until they re-announce him for next year. The fan base, F1 looking to get into China, FOM will, or get more into China, FOM will probably be getting their hands in on that contract situation and really wanting Zhou to stay. Tom,
any outside shots, or are you thinking it'll be business as usual for Alpha next season?
No, I think it'll be business as usual. Zhou's had a pretty good season, and he's been very, very hampered by reliability, as the others have said. So I think he'll absolutely stay where he is. I think he's done a very good job, and I think it would not be wise to get rid of him.
Yeah, on balance, it's most likely to be Zhou to say. I think he gets on well with Bottas. I think they've made a pretty good team in that car. And crashes aside, I think they've helped develop that car well. And I think Alpha would be a bit mad to kind of shake things up too intensely. And speaking of, what about Haas then, the other Ferrari powered car? Magnussen, a bit surprisingly, considering he's only just back, is confirmed, but Schumi Jr. is not. Tom, I'll come straight back to you on that. Thoughts on Mick's contract for next season? Will it be him, or does Gunther have something else in mind?
No, I think it will be him, because he's really started to pick up the season. You know, he's got his first couple of points finishes, and he's been racing a lot better. And we know that Mick takes perhaps the season to get used to a car. We saw it in Formula 2. It took him a season. And obviously with the big regulation change from last year to this year, and now he's got a good experienced teammate, in Kevin Magnussen, and also with Seb sort of taking on that mental role. And we're also beginning to see the sort of like fighting element of his personality come out as well. He's been sort of very nice so far, but he's beginning to have that sort of spark that his dad had, where his dad was obviously very aggressive on track and was pushing people, all the rest of it. We're beginning to see more of that. We're seeing better quality results. We're seeing better race results. Again, hampered by that Ferrari reliability. So yeah, I think he'll be there next year.
Yeah, you're right. And we saw him go toe-to-toe with the world champion-elect a couple of races ago in Silverstone. It was extremely impressive. Emma, your thoughts on Haas for next season?
I definitely think it's going to be Mick Schumacher again. I think it's only a matter of time. If it wasn't, then maybe Robert Schwartzman or Antonio Giovinazzi, possibly. But that's maybe a bit of a scare tactic for Mick Schumacher, that he needs to, carry on scoring the points and stuff. But I think since he's improved so much these last few races, I really think that he will definitely get that seat.
Akshar, yourself?
Yeah, I agree. That'd be probably a bit thick to get rid of him. Especially in favour of someone like Antonio Giovinazzi, who we've already seen in F1, a known quantity. Give Mick another year, at least.
I think that makes total sense for Mick to say. And then finally, AlphaTauri. So Pierre Gasly is confirmed again for next year, as we said, but Yuki Tsunoda is not. Now, actually, I'll come straight back to you on this. What are your thoughts on this? Does Yuki deserve another year, or is it time for Red Bull and AlphaTauri to maybe look elsewhere again for that second seat?
I am conflicted on this. I would like Yuki to have another year, but I possibly think that maybe he shouldn't get it. Maybe he hasn't quite deserved a second year with the erratic nature of his season. Like, he's either doing excellently well or he's deserving to be dropped. There seems to be not much of an in-between for Yuki, and the mistakes are still plaguing him.
If not Yuki, who would you replace him with?
Maybe we'd get Jen Derivler in, and all of India would be happy. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I think if you were going to go on Formula 2 results, I mean, he's a Red Bull junior and he's performing quite well this season already. We had him on the podcast, obviously, a couple of weeks ago. Plug again, link below. Emma, what about yourself? Do you think it'll be Yuki stay on? Do you think it'll be Jehan getting a step up, or are we seeing a new face in that second seat?
I think it'll be Yuki, and I actually disagree. I think he's been a lot better this year, personally. He's only 5 points behind his teammate. And I think in terms of mistakes, I would argue that Pierre has made more mistakes this year, hitting a lot of people and causing a lot of incidents. You rated him
your worst driver of the season in our last video.
Yes. Obviously, no disrespect towards Gasly. I think he's a great driver and he is doing well in AlphaTauri. But I think Yuki is on par. He's getting there, definitely, personally.
So let's wrap up then, shall we? Our predictions for the rest of the season. Obviously, the Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston are all confirmed. McLaren have recently announced that Daniel Ricciardo will be leaving, and we reckon it is going to be Oscar Piastri to replace him. And it's entirely possible that that has already been announced this weekend at the Belgian Grand Prix, but we don't know. And if it has, we'll do another video on that very soon. Our predictions then for the rest of the teams are Albon and De Vries to Williams. We reckon Ocon and a return for Daniel Ricciardo to Alpine, or a step up for someone like Porsche. Alfa Romeo will likely still be Bottas and Zhou for next season. I think we're all pretty much in agreement on that. And that Haas will keep Mick Schumacher alongside Kevin Magnussen. And finally, Yuki Tsunoda will be kept alongside Gasly for next season. And that about wraps it up. That is our predictions for the 2023 Formula One driver lineup, at least as of August, before the second half of the season kicks off officially. This might all change completely by next week, but that's the joy of silly season. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. I have been Sean. I've been joined today by Tom. Say goodbye, Tom.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Emma.
Thank you. Bye.
And Akshar.
Cheers. Goodbye.
We have been Everything F1. All our links to all of our socials can be found down in the description down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed this content. We're looking to do a lot more videos like this in the near future. And the more you subscribe, the more videos we will put out. Thanks as always for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.